Society is in shambles. You have mass shootings every other week. Mental health crisis is on the rise throughout the world. And then you have people that think it's okay for little boys to go in the bathroom with little girls. Society is headed towards the path of destruction. But me and Josh want to do our part to change it.
Certain times God allows things in your happen and you don't understand why they happen. And at that moment, it may not be for you to understand why that happened.
One thing that I teach the kids that I want society to implement is you got to know how to control your emotions. So many people, their life is taken or derailed because they don't know how to control their emotions.
In this episode, we're going to get raw and uncut. And as Denzel would say, we want to give you that blue magic. In this episode, we're going to share valuable lessons that we teach within our household that you and society need to implement. Let's get exposed.
Welcome to another edition of the Expose and Expand podcast show. I'm the man with the plan, Jeremy Mathis.
I'm Joshua. I'm going to give you the game, Mathis, and welcome to another edition of the Expose and Expand podcast show, where we expose you to the ideas, the strategies, the struggles, the failures, the people, and the experiences that have gotten us from zero to millions.
Society is going in a direction that we don't like. You got so much violence. You got so much entitlement. You got people that don't want to work. And just so many other things that we don't agree with. And part of what we think is happening is people need to be told, and they need different lessons. They need more teaching. They need better teaching, And me and Josh believe that we've been through a lot. And through our experiences and the things that we've had to overcome, we've molded ourselves into different people. And we're teaching ourselves, we're teaching our kids lessons that we want to expose you guys to. These are lessons that we believe society needs to hear. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see we even came dressed different today, because y'all gonna get a different version of the Mathis twins today. The outcome is very, very simple. We want you to take these teachings and implement them in your life if you're not already doing so. And we want to make sure that you share this with your kids if you have kids. Let's get exposed.
And guys, before we jump into it, man, we always appreciate your support. So if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on any of the podcast players, please hit that follow button and leave us a 5-star review. We greatly appreciate it. And as always, man, be sure to expose other people to the Expose and Expand podcast show.
Yes, guys. So today we're talking about things that we teach our kids that we believe society needs to know, and they need to start implementing it.
So so guys, we teach our kids a lot more than what we may talk about today. As you guys know, we like to keep the episodes short and concise, but these are, in our production meeting, we sat down and we said, hey, what can we give the people? And this is what God has put on our heart. This episode was one that I'm excited about. And what we did was like we've done in some of the past episodes, which is, hey, Jerm, you come up with your 3 to 4 things, the points that you want to hit on. And then I had to come up with 3 to 4. So I don't know what Jerm is going to talk about. He doesn't know what I'm going to talk about. So this is going to be a candid conversation.
Very candid. And this was the first episode in a long time since we've had a producer. Because when we had a producer, he would always help us come up with episodes, but then he left us back in November. So ever since then, Josh and I, we just been doing the production ourselves. This was the first topic that we came up with that one of us said, and we both was like, oh, yeah, let's do it. Yep. Every other topic, it was like, let's think about it. Let's see if we can come up with something different. This was the first one where we both agreed with it, and I made a bold statement at the beginning when I said society is going in a direction that we don't like. You guys are going to see a very different side of us because, again, I don't know what Josh is going to say. He don't know what I'm going to say. I'm excited to see what he's teaching in this household. Yeah, I'm excited to see what he teach. So what's one lesson that you teach your kids that you believe society needs to know and implement?
For me, man, the biggest and most important lesson that I can teach my kid is God is your source and living by biblical principles. So when we were sitting there and I was thinking about this is something that I not only teach them, but this is something that I show them. And I look at my life and the things that we've been through, the things that we've experienced, and God has shown me time and time again that he's real. It's a lot of stuff that I can't even say happened on this podcast, but God has gotten us out those situations, and he's shown me in my life through, either through the surgeries or getting through some traumatic experiences that I've been through and helping me get over those things. So for me, that is the number one principle and the core principle of my house, that God is your source, and we're going to live by biblical principles here.
Got you. So you say that you show them you show your kids that you live by that principle. Or what are examples of how you show them?
So it's a bunch of different examples. For me, one, we pray every morning before we leave the house. The most important thing that I want them to understand is, again, God is your source, and we're praying for protection. We're praying for protection on, you said it's a crazy society that we live in. So number one, praying. Number two is reading my Bible. Reading the Bible gives you so many different biblical principles that I want to touch on. Another way that I show them is when I'm going through tough times, I put my worship music on and I get to read in my word, and I show them, and I'm transparent with my kids, and I show them like, hey, Daddy's going through something tough right now. And I explain it as best as I could so they can understand it, but that's life. And I want them to see firsthand that life is not going to be just sunshine and rainbows. You're going to have those tough moments, especially us being entrepreneurs. So I tell them what's going on. And I show them, hey, here's how I get through these tough moments in my life.
Yeah. So one of the things you said that I want to bring up and really touch on it was you pray to God. And I think the way that you didn't even say it, but I realized this when you said it, was when you pray to God, you're helping your kids understand that you got to recognize that he's real, that he's there. And I think through prayer, that's one way that you do that. But what would you say to the person that says, because you said we pray for protection. What would you say to the person that I lost somebody, I prayed to God, I still lost somebody, or something bad happened to me?
I think we mentioned this in a previous episode. I think it's episode 5 or 6. And I say there's purpose behind your pain. And certain times God allows things in your happen and you don't understand why they happen. And at that moment, it may not be for you to understand why that happened. But later on in life, through life experiences, you start seeing like, man, because X, Y, and Z happened, this is why my life is the way that, and I can give a perfect example. For us at 11 years old, we lost Pop. Pop was our everything. Our father was in prison, and he was our everything. We never wanted for nothing.
Pop was our granddaddy.
We never wanted for nothing because he always made sure we had the clothes, the shoes, everything. And then when he got murdered, everything changed for us. Everything changed for our household, right? And because he wasn't around, just to, I guess the easiest way to put it is to and freely give us money, it helped mold us into who we are today, right? Because I think about if he was still here, and because he spoiled us, whether we want, he spoiled us, and if we live that spoiled lifestyle, would we be the men who we are today? No.
Oh, that's good. So basically what you said is we go through things so that we can have testimonies for other people and so that we can be molded into who we need to become. If I had to sum up what you said.
Yeah. And then the last thing I want to share on my point about like just understanding that God is your source and living by biblical principles, I think it's important. Most people in this society are all over and they're living a chaotic life because they don't have a foundation. And for us, God in the Bible is my foundation, whether you believe it or not, right? But it's foundation on how to live. Don't kill, don't steal, don't destroy, don't cheat, don't lie, right? Those makes you a good human beings. Also, the Bible gives you principles such when it comes to wisdom, right? You should always seek wisdom. And basically how I take that in my life is in my business. If I want to grow, I need to seek wisdom. So I need to invest in myself. I need to go to seminars. I need to get in masterminds. So all of that summed up, and all of that comes from biblical principles.
That boy sounds smart. Look at that boy coming out like that.
Come on, man. This is real life, my boy. This ain't no play.
That boy coming out like that. Okay.
So now, for you, what is one thing that you teach your kids?
That I want society to implement? Yeah. One thing that I teach the kids that I want society to implement is you got to know how to control your emotions. You got to know how to control your emotions. Man, you talk about this often. So many people sit in prison. So many people, their life is ruined or is not ruined, because I don't think life is ever ruined if you're still living. So many people, their life is taken or derailed because they don't know how to control their emotions. They're sitting in prison because they just don't know how to control their emotions. So for me, I help them understand, and this is part of Journey affirmations in the morning. Journey, what happens when you lose control of your emotions? Daddy, bad things happen. I'm training her, I'm molding her, and I'm helping her understand that. Because so many people don't know how to have a conversation. They don't know how to get forward in life because they are so emotionally driven and they just don't know how to control it. So for Journey, we do it in the affirmations for her and Ace. When they start having meltdowns and they start going crazy, Ace be going crazy from time to time. And I come up to him patient and I hold his hand. I say, let's do deep breaths. Because I think for us, it's critical. It is critical from what I've learned in my life that my kids have to know how to control their emotions. So for me, that's one thing that I would teach them, and I want society to implement.
That's good. That's good. And one thing that you mentioned earlier, I don't want you guys to miss that point, is so many people have gotten themselves in bad situations, whether they've been, going to jail or worse, getting murdered because they couldn't control their emotions. So that's a good point. What other ways, besides doing affirmations, besides, doing the deep breaths, do you, show the kids on how to control their emotions?
So me and Ash, like I've come to a realization, I'm very opinionated. Like I am very, very opinionated. And I've accepted that about myself. But I also know that my opinion isn't the end all be all. I'm open to other people's opinions. So with being opinionated, Ash and I sometimes have conversations, and she says certain things. I'm just like, that makes no sense. It makes zero sense to me, like zero. And sometimes in the past, I would allow the old me, the immature me, to get the best of me, and I would raise my voice, or I would just end the conversation abruptly and not give her an opportunity to continue to speak. Now they see that daddy take a deep breath when he's getting to that point, and I'm sure, and I emphasize that to them. I show them that if you're out and you're in society and you are having a heated discussion, nothing good happens when you raise your voice. Nothing good happens when you think your opinion is the only one that matters and you don't respect somebody else's opinion. Calm down and listen to understand and not listen to reply, because that's what happens so often. So I try to make sure that Ash and I have a difference of opinion conversations, intense fellowships in front of the kids, so that they can also see how you control your emotions.
No, that's real. That's real. And then, most people, you guys say you have those intense fellowships in front of the kids. Most people don't understand that they say, oh, don't do it in front of the kids. No, your kids need to see that it's okay for you guys to disagree. I'm not telling you to raise your voice. I'm not telling you to get out of control, right? You need to, because there's going to be times in their life when somebody's going to say something that they don't agree with, and they need to see an example of how they should control themselves. So it's healthy to have disagreements in front of your kids. Yeah. Any other points when it comes to controlling your emotions?
No, it's just something that you and I always talk about, and I just want to be a model for my kids to understand how important it is, how critical it is, because it's so long in my life, and I've talked about this in previous episodes. That has been one of my biggest struggles, and now I just want to make sure that I am the living example of how to control your emotions. Because everything, like not everything, but so many things stems from you knowing how to do that.
Do you have moments where you don't control your emotions and the kids see that? And if so, what do you tell them?
It's been some time since I've done that, because I literally want to model. That is very important for me to model to them. And now since I've got married last June, I just felt like I've become a different person. I've become a different man, where I want my kids to be able to tell their friends when they get older that my mama and my daddy set the standard on how I live. Yeah. So I'm committed to my wife. I'm committed to showing my kids this is what love looks like. When I come in the house, it's still that, hey, babe, hey, Miss Parker. They see me love on their mom. They see me respect their mom. So it's been a long time since I've gotten to that point, because I want to model, and I will be a great example of what I believe a great human being on earth is for my kids.
Look at that boy, Jerm. But I don't want y'all to miss that point that Jerm said. He said some real shit, and it was just like he want to set a standard for his family. He want his kids to show them this is what love looks like. 5, 6, 7, 10 plus years married to your mom, I'm still loving her. I'm still dating her. I'm still, taking her out. And for me, I get to witness that. I get to witness that firsthand. So, guys, that was some real stuff that Jerm just said, and I don't want you guys to miss that. Like, so shout out to Jerm. And I see it, right? I've seen the growth, because I used to be time about to split, bro. Boy, come in with his little, can't control it. Young jit can't control his emotions. Big mad shorty.
All the time.
Big mad shorty all the time, can't control his emotions. I'm just like, dang, bro, chill out. But I've seen the growth, so I want to applaud you for the growth that you've had. So that was real.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And for me, I love the growth that we are showing each other, because even though we brothers, you realize we show everybody else love, but we never show each other love. And through growth, through therapy, I'm seeing it more, where we show each other appreciation, where we show each other love. And I want to that's not even something I even thought about, but that's something that I want the world to start implementing, showing each other more love, showing each other more appreciation. Because with us being brothers, it was in the way that we grew up, it's like, okay, you did that. What you gonna do next? Like, let's go. Like, we gotta keep living, we gotta keep going. But we gotta appreciate these moments, and we gotta help people recognize how they impact our lives, because it's critical. We live in a negative society. You always want to be that positive, uplifting source of light and energy. So that's another lesson right there, where I just want people to start showing love and start showing appreciation.
No, that's real. That's real. So I want to jump into my next point. It's piggybacking off kind of what you said. So when you said emotions, I'm like, wow, there's, it's crazy. Like, we twins, we think alike, but we don't think alike. So guys, the next thing that I teach my kids that I want society to implement is you have to control your controllables. And your controllables are your attitude, your effort, your consistency, and your emotions. Your attitude, your effort, your consistency, and your emotions. You got to learn how to control your controllables. You can control your effort in every situation. You can control your attitude in every situation. You can control your consistency in everything that you do, and you can control your emotions. So for me, that was one of the things that I really wanted the kids to understand, because when you're giving maximum effort in everything that you're doing, you're being consistent in the things that you're trying to accomplish. Your attitude is in alignment with where you're trying to get, and your emotions are there. You have no choice but to be successful. So for me, it's important that the kids control their controllables.
That was so good. That was I just applaud you for that, how you articulated that. And I realized the growth that we've gotten to be able to understand you got to control your controllables. We've said this in literally the past couple of episodes, how you got to enjoy the process. The process, you're molded, you're being shaped. And just going through that process, I know that we both have learned exactly what you just said, was control your controllables. Because before, when bad things happen in business, it's the end of the world, boy. You can't function. You upset for no reason. Just one dude in send the escrow, and that's the end of the world. Yeah. And for us, we've had to learn. We had to go through that. We've had to get shaped and molded and learn that you got to control the emotion. Because we used to be just upset about all of that.
And that would control our entire life, because we had one, like Jerm said, small example. Some guy didn't send the escrow on the deal. That would ruin our whole day. We would not be able to work. We won't be functioning. We go home. We're mad at the kids. We're mad at our ladies. It's just like the whole world. But now it's just like it's points where it's like, oh, whatever, it is what it is, and you just keep going. You roll over. I mean, you roll with the punches. Yeah. That's real.
You had to learn. You had to go through the process. So how do you show the kids that you can control the controllables and control those things that you mentioned, which was mentioned? Go ahead. Go ahead.
So one thing that I said earlier is, when I'm going through certain things, I want the kids to know what's going on. So like right now, if we being real, Jerm and I we're in a funny stage of business right now where we're growing, but we're somewhat restricted by capital. And I hate being in this place because we have so much positive momentum. And I share that with the kids, and I'm sharing like, hey, your dad is actively seeking and pushing and trying to get to the next level, but I'm restricted here. But I'm still getting up, doing what I need to do. I'm still, having positive attitude about it. I'm still giving 150,000% effort towards it, right? My emotions are still intact. I'm still coming home being the dad that I need to be. So that's one example.
Now that's really, really good. Really good. As far as, controlling your controllables, say the things for me again. Let me see.
Your effort, your attitude, your consistency, and your emotions.
Your effort, your attitude, your consistency, and your emotions. I'm guessing through your experience, you came up with those 4 things, and that's become like a value system in y'all in your household.
So me and LaVon came up with a shout out to a queen, and it was just about like, what do we want? Like, what do we want the kids to model? And shout out to this guy, Steve, man. We went to a legacy conference, and, a while back, raising money. And we met this guy, Steve, there. He's an ex-baseball player. He has one daughter that goes to Stanford, another daughter, I forget, some other, well-known prestigious school. And he was telling us about his kids. And for me, anytime somebody says, anytime somebody talks about their kids the way he was talking about their kids, and giving me examples on why he feels that way about his kids, like I always ask, like, what did you do as a parent to raise those type of children, right? And I forget the acronym that he gave us, And it was somewhat in alignment with the effort and the attitude. And then me and LaVon, we came up with the consistency in the emotion part of it. So yeah,
that's really, really good. So, man, just to see our growth and the conversation we having right now, I'm just so thankful for our journey. Mm-hmm. I'm so thankful for our journey, and that's one of the things that I tell the kids. Something else. This wasn't the second point that I wanted to make, but I think it's a perfect segue. That you got to have an attitude of gratitude. You got to live in an attitude of gratitude, because life is going to happen. Bad things are going to happen. You can either choose to focus on the bad things that are happening or on the good things that are happening in your life. So for me, I always preach to the kids, like, people don't have to show up to the things that they show up to for you. They don't have to show up to your birthday party. Yeah. The world doesn't revolve around you. People don't have to give you gifts. They don't have to respond when you reach out to them. People, you think about it, we've become conditioned that people got to respond when we reach out to them. People don't have to. So you need to be grateful when people reach out to you, when people tell you certain things. You need to be grateful for the things that you have, because it's people on earth that don't have certain things that you have. When you have an attitude of gratitude, you just live in constant bliss and constant possibilities and positivity. Yeah. And that's the second message, or the second thing that I want the world to start implementing. And it's something that I preach to the kids, is have an attitude of gratitude.
That's good. I like the attitude of gratitude. That's really good. What examples have you given them personally of having an attitude of gratitude?
So as far as having an attitude of gratitude, Journey's 5, and Journey is, in her mind, she genuinely believes she's a princess. Daddy, I'm a princess. Daddy, like, you told me I could have anything that I want, because, Daddy, every time I watch a movie, the princess always get what they want. You said I'm a princess, Daddy. Like, what? And she truly believes that. So I have to constantly remind her, because sometimes she shows like a lot of ungratefulness. She had a good Christmas, got a lot of stuff, and just was ungrateful about it. And me and Ash have to constantly help her understand that it's people out here that don't get certain things, that don't have a healthy, good meal every day, that don't get to open their closet and pick what shoes they're going to wear. You need to be thankful. You need to be grateful for that journey, because it could be completely different when you don't have no shoes. You don't have no clothes. We're helping her understand life, right? Like real life. Because that's real life for people wear. Because that was us growing up, boy. For the school year, we had one pair of shoes. You had holes at the bottom of your FUBUs.
Yeah.
Your butter rims, you had holes in the bottom of them.
I was out there crossing in the court.
And I would help her understand, like, Journey, Daddy never had all this. You should be grateful. You should appreciate it. So for me, I constantly help her understand that what you get, this is not always life. Life may take a turn. Things may become different. So be very grateful.
That's one thing that, like, as a parent, that is, I don't want to say I struggle with, but it's hard, right? Raising kids and teaching them on how to be grateful when they don't have to struggle. Right, my kids they don't know what struggle is.
They live in the world of, like,
they go to Starbucks every morning if they want to, and get a frappuccino and a chocolate croissant. They don't understand the struggle, so it's just like sometimes, like, what can I do as a parent to help them to be more grateful? And I want to shout their mom out for my oldest kids, because she on every other month or so she'll cook a big batch of spaghetti, 100 kids, and they'll just go to Overtown. That's a place where there's a lot of homeless at, and here in Miami, and they're just handed out, and they can see, like, hey, like, this could be you, and then sometimes, and she tells me, I'm intentional making sure I sometimes try to find families where it's kids so they can see, because sometimes our kids could be ungrateful. So, like, you gotta be able to figure out those scenarios and those situations that you could put your kids in to show them that they need to have that attitude of gratitude.
That is definitely a great way to do it, because you think about it, we grew up, we didn't have, and mom was just such a miracle worker. She would fix food. We would have enough food for us, and then we would go on the side of the expressway and hand out food, and that helped us understand we got to be grateful for what we have. Yep. So like you said, that is an amazing point, that you got to put your kids in positions to help them understand they need to be grateful for the things that they have.
Because again, when you think about it, like, now I look at my kids and they don't have to want for nothing. You go on 3, 4, 5 vacations a year, spring break you somewhere, summer you somewhere, your birthday you somewhere, we go on a family trip. Like, they're normal. you get what you go to a great school. Every 6 months you get a new book bag just because you got shoes, and it's just like I look at how they live and compared to us. So I'm thank you for saying that, because now I try to be very intentional about putting them in situations where they need to show gratitude.
Yeah, that's good, man. So what's your third point that you share and overemphasize to your kids that you want society to know?
You got to believe in yourself. Everything starts and ends with belief, man. You have to believe in yourself. And a part of believing in yourself helps you build confidence. And when you have confidence to go, and most people, it's not confidence, it's arrogance when you go out there and you walk and you can stand 10 toes down and say, hey, this is who I am. And you really believe on who you are. One way that I make them, believe in themselves is affirmations. Every morning we say affirmations, and they have to repeat and they have to understand that. And then also, can't is a bad word in my house. You are not allowed to say you can't do something. Like the kids can say a curse word before they can say can't in my house. No, I don't allow my kids to curse, but I'm just want to prove. I want you guys to understand the point that can't is not allowed in my house. It's a bad word, and you should not tell yourself you can't. You shouldn't tell your kids can't. You think about it. We were born as just free individuals. We had no fear of anything, right? And there was some point in our life where we started to believe that we can't do something. So for me, I don't even want my kids to ever have to experience that can't moment. You can do anything. One, because of who you are, but more importantly, two, but the Bible says I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength.
So shout out to you, because you've been doing affirmations since before Ava can talk. And that was something that I got. Luckily, I was fortunate enough to have you in my life to expose me to doing affirmations with the kids. And now we do affirmations twice a day, faithfully, before she go to school, when she get in the car on the way to school, and at night when I tuck the nights that I tuck her into bed. So kudos to you and giving me exposure to that. But one thing that you said about the affirmations that's very important was that obviously you guys do it, but one thing that I do in addition that I want to share with the world is, after we do our affirmations, I ask Journey several questions. Like, who provides all that you need? God. Why do we do affirmations? We do affirmations because I'm the only one that can tell myself who I am. Nobody else can. And that's her response. I'm baking that into her head. So many people tell us what we are not able to, what we can't do, what we shouldn't do. Oh, you don't have this, you don't have that. And I'm helping her understand that nobody can tell you who you are except yourself. And that's why we do affirmations. You're telling yourself who you are. Yeah. So if you're a parent, whoever, if you're listening to this, you need to be doing affirmations, because the world going to tell you who you're not and what you can and can't do. Tell yourself what you can do. Tell yourself who you are. Tell yourself, I'm that guy. I'm that boy.
Even with the Old Navy fit on. I love it. That confidence, that John Rock.
So guys, the last point that I want to make today, as far as what I teach my kids and what I want society to start implementing, is that work come first. Now I ain't talking about faith, finances, family, fitness. I ain't talking about those pillars. When I say work come first, I mean before you play, before you go out there and you do anything, you need to make sure that you do work first. The reason why you need to make sure that you do that is because if you don't work, you don't eat. And this is, like I said in the intro, society is to a point where people don't want to work and people only want handouts. Everything great that has ever happened, everything that was built, work had to be done. When God built earth, he put in work. He put in work. He had to rest on the seventh day because he put in work. So for me, it's vital and it's important for me and my kids to understand that work come first. And the way that I show her that is in the morning. She's at that stage now where she gets herself ready. She's independent, as she tells me. And she gets herself ready for school. So with that, she brushed her teeth, she washed her face, she put her own clothes on. My wife cooks breakfast for her, but she eats her breakfast, and she got to get her shoes ready and put her shoes downstairs. Every morning, she does everything except put her shoes downstairs, because we set up their morning where we work first, and then we give them some time to play. In that playtime, I go take a shower because I come home from the gym, And she always forgets to put her shoes at the bottom of the stairs. And I always say, hey, Journey, what comes first? Work, Daddy. Work, Daddy. Work come first. And I say, Journey, you see what happens? When you start playing, you forget to do the work. You got to do the work. So one thing that I constantly preach in my household is that work come first before you do anything, before you play or anything else.
That's so good. That's so good. And but it's crazy because that was going to be another bonus that I had, which is I tell my kids all the time, take care of business. Yeah. Take care of business first. You take care of business, everything else will fall into alignment. And then when you take care of business, also it just shows that you're not a selfish individual. Shout out to our brother Marcus Y. Rosier, and he say this all the time, when you procrastinate, you're being selfish, right? Because when you procrastinate, you're putting off something that you can do now for something, you're putting off something that you could do now for, and doing it later. And then when it later comes, you end up, and at that time, a friend, a family member, or, your business needs you. You have to say no to that thing because you didn't take care of business first. Right, so that was really good what you said.
Hey guys, Marcus would have said it way better than
yes.
what Josh said. Yes. He wouldn't have fumbled that bad. He wouldn't have fumbled that opportunity to preach. But guys, I want you to understand when I say work come first, again, I want to make sure I clarify this, that you have your own pillars outside of like work, meaning what comes first in your life, faith, family, finances. You got to determine how that stacks up. When I say work come first, I'm talking about before you go out and play, before you go out and do anything, make sure you take care of your work.
And another way to sum up taking care of business or work coming first is delayed gratification. Yeah. When you take care of business first, right, everything else will fall in alignment the way that it needs to. Most people in society they don't live the life that they're supposed to live. They're drowning in debt. They're not happy because of not implementing a delayed gratification into their life. So when you learn how to delay gratification, you're setting yourself up for success. We live in this microwave society where people want to play first and get themselves into situations and sometimes bad situations, and then not be able to get out of that. So guys, take care of business first.
Boy, this been one for the books. I'm proud of the conversation we had today. Guys, this is straight from my heart. This is me and Josh, authentic, as raw as you're going to get us, because we really want society to start moving in a better direction. We really want people to understand that you gotta do the work. We want people to live in a state of gratitude. We want people to know that you need to have a foundation. If you don't believe in God, what is your foundation? What is your source? We believe God, and our household gonna serve the Lord. But what is your source? What is your foundation? We wanted to put all these points out here for you guys to start understanding that things need to be different. Things got to be better in society, and take these lessons and implement them in your life.
No, this is really, like you said, been one for the books. And did you have something for your bonus? You had anything else that you wanted to share?
I had a couple other things, but if you got something you want to share.
Another thing that came to mind is the importance of money management. Right. So every morning, a part of the kids' affirmation is helping them understand money management, helping them understand that money is a tool, helping them understand that you shouldn't work for money. Money should work for you. Most people live life so backward. Most people live check to check. Most people struggle is because they don't understand how to manage money. They don't understand that you should use money to invest, that you should use money like what I teach the kids, I ask them, what is money used for? Money's used for investing. Money to invest in what? They say cash flow producing assets. What's an example of a cash flow producing asset? Rental property. What's another example? Business with strong financials. Then I also say, what else is money is used for? Saving and helping other people. And then you go and enjoy it. You do those things first, and then you go enjoy it. But most people live backwards, and that's why they can't invest and grow themselves. That's why they can't, help other people.
Yeah, that was a good ending. Yeah. That was a good ending. That was a good little cherry on top. That was a good little cherry on top.
Thanks, man.
That was some real game. Finally.
Hey, listen, I've been here. I've been standing in the paint. I'm like Kobe. I put up 81.
I don't know you put up 81, but you dressed like you would put up 81.
I put up 81, man. But again, like you said, this has been a great conversation. And guys, just do us a favor, man. If there's anything else that you guys want us to hit on, you guys want us to talk about, please leave a comment and let us know. We want to have the conversations that's going to help you grow. right? Because Jeremy and I are thinking about things, what we think is going to help you grow. And I know we've been exposing you guys to a lot, and I know these episodes have been helpful to a lot of you guys, but just please do us a favor and put ideas in the show notes for us.
Guys, we gave real game today. Y'all can't tell me we didn't. Like, I'm sitting here thinking about how proud I am of us after this episode. So guys, we have a gentleman's agreement. Guys, we put a lot of time and energy and effort to producing these shows. Help us to grow the show. Expose somebody to this conversation. We need these teachings to get out there in society. So we call it a gentleman's agreement because we can't see you do it. We just believe that you will because we gave so much value today. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on the podcast players like Apple or Spotify, hit that follow button. Leave us a 5-star review. It helps the show grow. Exposure leads to expansion. Expose and expand. Peace.
Expose and expand. Peace.